Once upon a time there was a miller who had 3 sons. The miller worked hard his whole life. He provided for his sons the best he could. When the miller passed away, his sons gathered to divide his belongings. The oldest son, who was strong and capable, inherited the mill. This was only fair as he had helped his father run it for many years. The middle son, who was clever with money, received the donkey. This sturdy animal could carry grain to the market and bring back a good price. But the youngest son, who was seen as a dreamer, received only the cat. The youngest son was heartbroken. "What good is a cat?" he cried. "My brothers can earn a living with their inheritance, but what can I do with a cat?" He sat down beside the cat and sighed. "I suppose I shall have to eat you and make a muff of your fur, and then I shall have nothing at all." The cat, who was not just any cat, but a very clever one, spoke up in a bold voice. "Master," he said, "do not despair. I may not seem like much, but I can be of more use to you than you think. Give me a bag and a pair of boots, and I will show you that I am worth more than a mere meal." The youngest son, though he doubted the cat's words, decided to humor him. After all, what did he have to lose? He found an old sack and a pair of boots that had been his father's. He presented them to the cat, curious to see what he would do. The cat, pleased with his new possessions, sat down and carefully pulled on the boots. He swaggered around for a moment, getting used to the feel of them. "Now, master," the cat declared, "go and hide by the river, and when I call, come running." The young man, still unsure of what the cat was planning, decided to trust him. He went to the river and waited patiently, wondering what his clever cat would do next. The cat, equipped with his boots and bag, set off into the forest. He was a cunning hunter, and it wasn't long before he had caught a plump rabbit. He put the rabbit in his bag and marched confidently towards the king's castle. The king was known to be fond of game, and the cat planned to use this to his advantage. He arrived at the castle and asked to see the king. The guards, amused by the sight of a talking cat in boots, decided to let him in. The cat bowed low before the king and said, "Your Majesty, my master, the Marquis of Carabas," for that was the title he had invented for his master, "has sent me to present you with this fine rabbit as a token of his esteem." The king, flattered by the gift and the cat's polite manner, accepted the rabbit with a smile. "Tell your master, the Marquis of Carabas," he said, "that I am most grateful for his thoughtfulness." Over the next few weeks, the cat continued to bring gifts to the king, each time claiming they were from his master, the Marquis of Carabas. The king, impressed by the generosity and apparent wealth of this unknown Marquis, showered the cat with gold and jewels. The cat, in turn, brought these treasures back to his master, who was astounded by his cat's success. One day, the cat learned that the king and his beautiful daughter, the princess, were going for a ride in their carriage along the river bank. This, the cat decided, was his opportunity to take his plan to the next level. He rushed back to his master and said, "Master, today is your lucky day. If you do as I say, you can win the hand of the princess and inherit a kingdom. Now go quickly and bathe in the river where I tell you." The young man, though he still didn't fully understand the cat's plan, trusted him completely now and did as he was told. The cat waited until the king's carriage was approaching. Then he hid his master's clothes under a rock and threw himself into the road, pretending to be in distress. As the king's carriage drew near, the cat cried out in a loud voice, "Help! Help! My master, the Marquis of Carabas, is drowning!" The king, hearing the cries for help, ordered his guards to stop the carriage. He peered out the window and saw the cat, who he recognized as the faithful servant of the generous Marquis. "What has happened?" the king asked, concerned. "Your Majesty," cried the cat, "my master was bathing in the river when robbers attacked him. They stole his clothes and threw him in the water. Please help him." The king, moved by the cat's pleas and not wanting to appear ungracious to such a wealthy and thoughtful nobleman, immediately ordered his guards to rescue the drowning man. The young man, shivering and embarrassed, was brought before the king. The king, wanting to help the unfortunate Marquis, offered him one of his finest robes to wear. The young man, dressed in finery that surpassed anything he could have imagined, cut a dashing figure. The princess, looking at him with admiration, found herself strangely drawn to this handsome and apparently wealthy nobleman. The cat, meanwhile, had raced ahead of the carriage and arrived at the ogre's castle. The ogre was a powerful magician who could change his shape at will. The cat, using his cunning and charm, tricked the ogre into transforming into a mouse. The cat then pounced, making short work of the ogre and claiming his grand castle for his master. When the king's carriage arrived, the cat greeted them at the gate, announcing that they were entering the grand estate of the Marquis of Carabas. The king, awed by the splendor of the castle and the surrounding lands, was now convinced of the Marquis's wealth and status. The princess, completely smitten with the handsome young man, agreed to marry him. The king, delighted by this turn of events, gave his blessing. And so the youngest son, thanks to the cleverness and resourcefulness of his cat, found himself married to a princess and master of a vast fortune. The story of Puss in Boots teaches us that with wit and determination, even the most hopeless situation can be transformed. The cat, despite being seen as a lowly creature, used his intelligence and cunning to overcome obstacles and create opportunities for his master. He reminds us that appearances can be deceiving, and true worth is often found in unexpected places. The tale encourages us to embrace our own unique strengths, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem. Like Puss in Boots, we all have the potential to achieve great things if we are resourceful, persistent, and never give up on our dreams. The story reminds us that fortune favors the bold and that sometimes a little bit of cleverness can go a long way.